You're listening to the Baumbastic podcast with Andrew Ellis on Inside Arkansas.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Baumbastic postgame show presented by Hickey and Law. I'm here with Curtis Wilkerson. I'm Andrew Ellis. We'll be joined by John Nabors in just a moment, but we are exhaling because the Arkansas Razorbacks have gotten that 27th out. They secure a Game 1 win, 4-3 over the Tennessee Volunteers in what was a game that really didn't feature a ton of comfort. It really came down to the last pitch. Andrew Fisher put some fear in the Arkansas crowd there with a solo home run in the top of the ninth inning, but Gabe Gackle shuts the door, picks up a huge save. Zack Root puts together, dare I say, an iconic performance.
It's a good way
the
to describe
Hogs
it.
win a pitcher's battle with these two teams who are two of the most dynamic offenses left in this tournament. Wind blowing out, perfect day of ballpark weather. Of course, we get a pitcher's duel with some pretty good arms on the mound, Curtis. How are we feeling after Arkansas gets a massive, massive win one step closer to Omaha?
I mean, there was never a doubt, right? Never a doubt at all. Man, that was exactly what we expected in terms of it ain't going to be easy, and it's not always going to be pretty. I did not anticipate Arkansas out hitting Tennessee 10-2 and being in a one-run ball game at the end, but I don't care. A win is a win is a win. Zack Root was phenomenal. Jacked up, I think, might be a decent way and a PG way to describe what was a rated R event from him. That was insane. An absolute nuke, sort of, I guess, from Ryder Helfrich. This was an absolute blast, man, and it was, I don't know, whatever. We're one win away. That was wild.
Yep. I mean, guys, you guys said it. It was about as stressful as we all, knew it would be because it's never easy for Arkansas. And again, this is something to where, as weird as it is, I feel better going into tomorrow, or even if it goes to game 3, because you didn't play well. You did not get guys in, and you still found a way to win. That's what good teams do. When you don't play your best game, when you miss out on opportunities, when all that stuff happens, and you still find a way to win, that's what championship teams do. So in a weird way, I'm extremely confident and happy. Obviously, a win is a win, no matter what. I'm not going to sit here and say that I want to see that type of performance at the plate when it comes to getting guys in again. But, man, when you don't play your A game, you still get a win. I'm never going to apologize. I'm never going to feel bad for it. Arkansas is one win away from going back to Omaha.
Absolutely. You definitely should never apologize. And listen, guys, don't confuse our relief and our like catching our breath to say we are disappointed. Yeah, it's been an anxious few hours. Anxious few minutes, I would even say, because as soon as we get the Foghorns, Andrew Fisher goes yard, and we're getting a little nervous here. John, you mentioned it there. Arkansas, you say, didn't play their best. What's weird is you look at it, they out-hit Tennessee 10-2, and in that situation, I don't think I've ever seen a hit differential like that and a score differential that's that close. You know what it had shades of? Arkansas's loss against Kansas State last year, where they out-hit them 11-4 or 11-5 or whatever it was, wind up losing that game. Arkansas goes 10 of 32 at the plate. That's 313 for those counting at home. Tennessee 2 for 29, 069 at the plate. The Arkansas pitching staff, and it was two guys. It was Zack Root and Gabe Gackle to do that against this Tennessee offense. Which, by the way, we mentioned the wind blowing out, and it was a day outside that was built for offense. And you have two lineups that feature a ton of dudes that can really produce some big flies. You couldn't feel comfortable. Every single out on both sides was extremely stressful, save for maybe those first 12 from Zack Root. They weren't very stressful at all. But it's big-time stuff. Arkansas goes 2 for 10 with runners in scoring position. The one big hit was Charles Davalon's big swing that provided Arkansas that extra run, which wound up being the difference. Folks, we are going to break this game down in its entirety. We're going to get to all your chats. We appreciate you being here. We're at Foghorns, by the way, so if you're leaving Baum, you're about to go home, don't go home. Come here and pull up with us and party. We're going to have a great time over here. But want to remind everyone that today's episode of the Baumbastic Podcast is brought to you by Hickey and Hull Law. Divorce and custody cases are too important to try and face alone. Let Hickey and Hull provide you with the persistent and diligent representation to help guide you through the entire process. They have handled thousands of family law cases and have experienced nearly every scenario that may come up. They know every case they take is important, and they strive to give each one of their clients the utmost time and care they deserve. Hickey and Hull Law have offices across the state of Arkansas in Fayetteville, Fort Smith, Little Rock, and Mena. You can call them today at 479-434-2414, or you can check out their website, visit hickeyandhull.com, or scan the QR code in the top right corner of your screen. It's Hickey and Hull Law. Things are about to get better. Would also like to give a shout out to our guys over at Trevero Clothing. Why spend so much money renting tuxes and suits when you can own the highest quality ones at an affordable price. That's what Trevero Clothing can provide for you. You can look as good as we did Wednesday, which, hell, when Arkansas clinches this Omaha run, we might have to go ahead and suit up again, whether it's weddings, formals, black tie events, or just your team going to Omaha. Have Trevero Clothing get you looking your best this summer. Check out their entire line on Instagram and check them out at any Dillard's near you. It's Trevero Clothing, where they dress the best version of you. Guys, I mean, we just have to give Zack Root his own little space here on this postgame show. Listen, we've seen better performances. Like, it's not the best performance I've ever seen out of a Razorback pitcher. We saw Hagen Smith strike out 17 Oregon State Beavers last year. We've seen no hitters at Arkansas. We've seen complete game shutouts. We've seen dominant showings, 10, 12 strike. I mean, hell, Gage Wood had 13 strikeouts last week. But given the circumstances, given the lineup that he was facing and the moment here, and the fact that all year we've questioned, does Arkansas have that frontline starting pitching? I tell you, it would have been hard to convince me they don't after watching the way that dude pitched today. He pitched with emotion. He pitched with purpose, filled up the damn strike zone. He ends up throwing 60 strikes in 92 pitches. That was all in the last couple innings. There was a point where I looked up and he had 25 strikes and 5 balls. Yep. The dude was getting ahead of every single hitter. Matter of fact, the first hitter he didn't get ahead of was the guy who hit the ball down the first baseline that Reese Robinette couldn't get a hold of. Falls behind Dean Curley, who hits a home run. It was those two plays right there. Outside of that, hard to say anything bad about Zack Root's performance today.
Yeah, I mean, listen, when you have a guy like Zack Root, who we have seen him at his best, we've seen him at his worst. There's been times where he looked like one of the best pitchers in the country, and there's times that he looked like a Sunday reliever that you don't really know what to expect because you're running out of pitching. You just got to throw him out there. I mean, there's just so much nuance to him, and I'm going to tell you, as weird as it is, statistically speaking, it may not have been the greatest showing by Zack Root, but I think it was one of the greatest performances by Zack Root because of the emotion, because of the adrenaline, and also throw into the mix, guys. He gave up that 2-run bomb. They had that drop ball right there. It was a matter of, okay, how is he going to handle this? How is he going to work through it? He was doing so good. The offense isn't helping him out. How is he going to do? Well, he went out there and he did his thing once again. He bounced back. He overcame it. So to me, I mean, again, it's hard to put into words just exactly how meaningful that was. He did his job. It was great to see him out there with emotion. I know we're going to talk probably a little bit about the chippiness and the things that were said, but again, shout out and hats off to Zack Root. So far in the postseason, he's brought.
There is no way that I would be able to find a balance between the intensity and the poise that he showed throughout the course of that game. You mentioned it. He gives up the 2-run home run there, and you're thinking, oh, man, where is this headed? And he just settled right back down and got out of that inning. No big deal, settled in. He had the situation where he was not happy with I wasn't looking at the track man or whatever, so I don't know if those pitches were strikes or whatever, but he was not happy with a couple calls on a walk there. Hobbs came out, settled him down, and he was fine. He was obviously very emotional every time he faced Fisher there. Had the whole scene where, we'll get to that in a minute, so we can save all the details, but then he sat in the dugout for about 35 minutes, calmed himself, collected himself, and went out there and shoved for another inning. So it was really, really impressive. Like, if it was me, if I'm that far up, I'm either staying that far up or I'm crashing. And he didn't do that. When he needed to rear back and touch 99, he went back and touched 99, which was ridiculous. Every time the moment called for intensity, he had it. And every time it called for, hey, take a deep breath and execute, he did that as well. Flawless. He was excellent.
Yep. Unbelievable stuff. And again, like, every out in this game was so important. And, we'll touch on it in a bit. Tennessee had to make a lot of decisions. And we talked about this last week. Dave Van Horn really didn't have to make that many tough decisions. Kind of, today was a little bit more stressful. Of course, sending Root back out there for that 7th inning, I feel like was a little bit of a decision, although Tennessee helped him out by giving him plenty of time to wake it up. But Tony Vitello had to really battle through that 6th inning and wound up, I wouldn't say he made the wrong decisions, but Arkansas was able to get a big, important run in that inning. That's stressful. That puts taxing, stress on your coaching staff, on your team, on your pitching staff, all of that, and you can just feel the pressure. Zack Root took the pressure away from Dave Van Horn, took the pressure away from this Razorback team, and Arkansas missed so many opportunities, and we're going to run through them here in a second. The first inning, Root just needs 6 pitches. I mean, you get 2 pitches, 2 outs against their 2 left-handed batters who are horrifying. I'm not looking forward to facing Gavin Keelan again. I'm not looking forward to watching Andrew Fisher again. Like, no. I do not feel good when those guys are up at the plate. Zack Root gets 2 pitches, 2 outs to start the game, which really set the tone. Ends up only needing 6 to get out of the inning, picks up his first punch out. Hogs get 2 on in the first. Davalon works a 4-pitch walk. Logan Maxwell smokes one right at the shortstop, who couldn't quite come over the plate, diving play. They give him a base hit on that. I think it was probably the right call. You felt some juice in Baum-Walker Stadium. Ryder Helfrich grounds into a double play. Kind of takes the air out of it, but you still feel okay at that point. Root gets right back to work. 1-2-3 in the second inning. Kogel singles on an 0-2 fastball that was left right over the heart of the plate. One of the many mistakes that Marcus Phillips made in this game, Arkansas wasn't able to make him pay for a lot of them, but Kogel gets a very important single right there. Kahio Aloy just absolutely blisters one down the third baseline. Yep. Absolutely smoked. And by the way, Manny Marin, freshman third baseman for Tennessee, massive mistake right there. Tennessee did not commit an error in this game, but they had two massive blunders in the field. Who knows? That ball probably was going to stay fair. For those that don't remember, Kahio Aloy hits a chopper that's rolling down the third baseline. Looked like it was probably going to go foul. It was at least going to be close. The freshman third baseman comes up and gloves it and then doesn't throw the ball to first. Like, if you're not going to make a play on it, maybe just let that one roll and see and take your chances, because the guy's at first anyway. Ends up being first and second. Hogs end up getting second and third with 2 outs with Justin Thomas at the plate after a Reese Robinette fielder's choice or a ground out to the right side. And Justin Thomas winds up striking out, but Cam Kogel just wills Arkansas's first run on the board. Listen, it felt like a big moment in the game. You look back, it was even bigger. You get Arkansas on the board 1-0 after, again, they missed an opportunity in the first. You could not come out of that second inning without getting anything. You have a ball in the dirt that bounces about 8 feet away from the catcher, and Cam Kogel just like, send it. I'm gone. Did y'all think he was going to get there?
No, I did not think that he was going to get there, but he did. Immediately when he took off, I was thinking, no way this is about to happen. But, speed demon. Why not?
Yeah. And see, but here's the deal is it's going to sound very cliche, but it's true. Those are the types of plays and risk and all that stuff where it's high risk, high reward. But if you're going to win games like this, where it's going to be close, you got to sometimes roll the dice. Sometimes you got to give your guys a chance. Sometimes you got to catch the other team sleeping. Sometimes you just got to do it. And that's why, again, it's always a bad decision if it doesn't work out. It's a great decision if it does. This was one of those opportunities. But it's like, I think that Dave, I think the team, everyone knows, hey, Tennessee's a good team. We're not going to come in here and just roll with them, and that's going to be it. We got to do our part. We got to play really well. We got to shut them down. We got to roll the dice and take some risk. And that one really worked out and ended up being the difference in the game.
You have this team, both these teams, there's so much talent. There's so much just raw power and, power arms on the mound, power bats at the plate, and all these guys that can do all these awesome things. And then you have this game come down to just little bitty plays here and there, couple in the field. Arkansas made their own error and let Tennessee in the game there. It comes down to this small stuff. Cam Kogel knew that, felt the moment. If he hesitates even a split second, he doesn't get there. Arkansas takes a 1-0 lead in the second inning, put more pressure on Tennessee in the third inning. And again, Marcus Phillips goes 4 1/3 in his first outing against Arkansas, and they kind of had him on the ropes the whole time. They have 7 hits off him, only get 3 runs. Tennessee kind of went to the bullpen at the perfect time. It felt like it was a very similar outing, honestly. He was able to give them a little bit more. In the third inning, Charles Davalon smokes a base hit to right field. Logan Maxwell with a good base hit up the middle. Man, he's seeing the ball well. He's putting together some good ABs. Ryder Helfrich gets hit by a pitch with 1 out. And then Cam Kogel, who just made the awesome play in the second inning, could not have rolled a ground ball better to Gavin Keelan there at shortstop. He has the unassisted double play there. Another time where you're like, man, and this is at this point, Arkansas has 6 hits in 3 innings, and you have a 1-run lead. And you're kind of like, oh, man, is this really sustainable? Luckily, Zack Root got right back to shoving in the 4th inning. No drama there at all. The 5th inning is where Tennessee takes the lead and where everyone in the stadium, again, all those times where you feel like you're leaving some meat on the bone, you really felt this way because Tennessee, who had not had a base runner through 4 innings, gets an immediate error from Reese Robinette. And, maybe they could have ruled it a hit. It was hit right at him. It was hit hard. Just kind of goes in and out of his glove. You see that sometimes with the guy on the corners. The ball kind of catches them. This ball did not catch Reese Robinette. It gets away from him. The next batter, Dean Curley, who makes a tough error later in this game, or what should have been an error, gets one up in the jet stream just enough to get it out to left center field. I think it's about 100 miles an hour off the bat. Tennessee takes a 2-0 lead. So you have 1 hit for the Vols and a 2-1 lead. And this is where all those missed opportunities felt like it was going to be, what was Arkansas's undoing? In every big postseason loss for Arkansas over the last decade, it's like a game that has some of these ingredients. Arkansas gets those 2 runs right back in the bottom of the 5th inning with 2 outs. Kind of came out of nowhere. You had 2 quick outs, and you're kind of like, oh, man, I don't know how this is going to be. Vahiva Loy smokes one to the left side. Guy makes a great play, and you're just starting to have that feeling of, we can't do anything right. This isn't our day. You get a 4-pitch walk to Logan Maxwell, who, again, was on base 3 times in this game, was awesome, hit 2 home runs in his last game, a massive piece in his lineup. And then Ryder Helfrich. Have y'all ever seen listen, okay, I thought about making a joke about how I was just blistered out of here. I don't think I've ever seen a home run ball like that at Baum. 84 miles an hour off the bat. The TrackMan says 312 feet. Guys, I want to remind you, the left field fence at Baum is 320 feet. I don't know how you hit a 312-foot home run and a 320-foot fence. Ryder Helfrich found a way to do it, man. He just keeps proving people wrong. He keeps proving the haters wrong. He proves the TrackMan wrong. Somehow gets that ball in. Ryder, we talked about this a lot. His backspin is something with his swing. He just backspins that ball, and again, wind's blowing out, gets just enough of it. Gives Arkansas a 3-2 lead. Baum goes into a frenzy.
Well, and I was thinking when that home run happened, it feels like he does that often, where his home runs just get over there in that left field wall just barely. And kind of to your point about the backspin, every single time it seems like the left fielder is going to get it. I'm like, oh, man, he's got it.
It felt like he had a beat on it.
Yeah, he had a beat on it. It's like, oh, but it just slips around. It just goes slightly over. And I was like, hey, listen, a home run's a home run as long as it leaves the yard. It doesn't have to be, as I like to coin, piss missile. I'll just say it more in jest and tongue-in-cheek because it's not one. But, hey, listen, that's what he does. It's almost like a golf shot. It's like he's got his pitching wedge out there and just trying to get it over the bunker. Yeah. But, that's kind of what he does. And, man, if there was ever a time that Arkansas needed that, it was then. Because it was really starting to feel like, oh, gosh, not again in the postseason where at home you're just squandering opportunities. You took advantage of that one, and it seemed to really, really get everybody to have that sigh of relief. Okay, all right, let's new ball game. Let's get this going.
Yeah, as soon as they got the runner on there with 2 outs and Helfrich came up, it just felt like the potential was there for a sneaky moment.
Yep.
Right before the pitch. I'm not tooting my own horn. Right before the pitch, I looked over at Don. I said, he's about to hit one of these idiots in the bullpen out there. And then he hit one in the bullpen. He didn't hit one of the idiots, but he hit one out into the bullpen. So I feel good for calling that shot. But it just had the feel of that moment because it was a little bit too ho-hum.
Yep.
Right there. And then you get a runner on. It's like, okay, they haven't capitalized in other situations here. This would be the time where you do it. It's like, runner on, 2 outs, no big deal. Perfect. Love that.
I think if you ask me, this all happens in the 5th inning, which was the chaotic one. You have 2 in the top, 2 in the bottom. Like you say, momentum shifting all throughout the ballpark. That's when you knew you were in a heavyweight fight. This is where the crowd after the round stands up and gives a stand. They're like, hey, we're watching a fight here. The 6th inning might have been the biggest inning in the game right after it. So Zack Root comes out, gets a quick 2-pitch fly out to the 9-hole, walks Gavin Keelan on about 7 pitches. He fouls off a couple. I thought both of the 2-2 pitch and the 3-2 pitch, both curveballs, I thought were, from where we're standing behind home plate.
Yep.
I thought they looked good. Zack Root thought they looked good. The crowd definitely, of course, which had no bias at all. They thought it looked good. And Root was pissed.
Dude.
Was livid about this.
Happy.
And again, it's a 1-run game right now. You walk the leadoff guy who's also pretty dangerous. And now you have Andrew Fisher coming up. Matt Hobbs, credit to Matt Hobbs, wasted no time at all. Goes out and talks to Root because he could see right away. My starter is flustered. He's a little bit worked up. You never want to be, we always say pitching with emotion. You don't want to be pitching with that much emotion. Matt Hobbs does a great job, doesn't waste any time, goes out and talks to his pitcher, and then also says something to the umpire, and the umpire takes out his notepad and writes something down. For those watching at home, that's how you know the umpire got cursed out. Whenever they start writing in that notepad, which I don't know how many warnings the umpire gave out today, 9, where he was like, hey, I'm writing in my notepad. Don't say that to me again. Matt Hobbs had a few words to the umpire. I don't know what he said, but it probably wasn't very nice. So he kind of calms down his pitcher. Again, 1 on, 1 out, 1-run game. Andrew Fisher at the plate hits a ground ball right to Cam Kojal at second base. And it was in a 3-2 count. He gets a 3-1 fastball, misses it, swing and miss. Goes back to the well, gets another fastball elevated. He rolls it over, ground ball double play. Zack Root had some things to say to Andrew Fisher.
He did.
I do not think he was inviting him to dinner at Foghorns. I don't think so. I could be wrong, and I'll let Zack Root correct the record if he wants. It didn't look like he was saying nice words to him.
Nope.
They ain't splitting wings here.
Nope. Not in that case. And it was just because we saw a little bit of it, but then when you go on the television replay of it and see, you're like, oh my, like that was something to where, he's an emotional guy. He's probably not very good at poker. He doesn't hide his emotions very well on his face.
No.
Yeah, I mean, he's just always out there doing that. But when he was going to that level, and especially, I can't remember if that was the time when he was throwing 99 or 98 or whatever it was, you could tell there was a lot coming out of that. That was a deep-seated, angry, emotional, got him out. And he let it all let loose. And you know what? Like we talked about, he's not going to face this team again, no matter what. So why not? Let it loose, let it fly, and let them know how you feel.
Yeah, that was something, man. The Root Fisher at bats were pretty impressive. You know, it was the at bat before where he's pumped 99 right past him there, and Fisher was swinging out of his shoes, which was crazy. But yeah, that at bat there was it Helfrich that almost ripped his jersey off of his body?
Yeah, he was trying to bust him back. So
I mean, I got to be honest with you. Let me be clear. I absolutely love it. I have zero issue with it whatsoever. I'm also very surprised that he didn't get run for doing that.
Yeah.
Apparently, they weren't paying attention, or the umps didn't see it, or whatever. I was looking at Wes Rucker freaking out on Twitter about it. But that's a lot of fire and emotion. He was chirping right at him, like there was no doubt about it. I love it. I'm surprised that nothing came of it.
Yeah, all that really happened was the umpires issued warnings to both teams. I can't remember which Tennessee staffer it was. It might have been Elander. He gets all the way to shortstop, yelling at the umpires like, "Yo, did y'all see that? Like, what's going on here?" But again, you know, back to Zack Root and how good he was, and how just awesome he's been, and how much he lives for these moments. When you get a guy out of the portal, number 1 overall pitcher, this is what you bring him here for. And we spent all year wondering, is Zack Root that guy? Does he want to be in these moments? Is he that guy that you really give the ball to against Tennessee in a super? He very much is that guy, and he made that clear. I thought for sure that was going to be his last inning. After kind of that, you usually see that with pitchers. When they throw that pitch and get the big strikeout and they feel like they've done their job, that's when they let loose a little bit. The fact that he came back out and gave Arkansas another inning was massive. But, guys, the bottom of the 6th was maybe even more chaotic because you have Kahio Aloy grounds out. Brent Iredale smokes a base hit through the left side. Twice in this game, Brent Iredale had a base hit through the left side on an off-speed pitch. How many times have we said the big question with Brent Iredale is if he can hit heat? And he did not hit a fastball all day. He swung and missed at every fastball he attempted to swing at. But they sped up his bat, threw him a breaking ball in the zone. He has 2 base hits. He singles through the left side. Now Tennessee goes to their lefty, Dylan Loy, who's like their Parker Coyle, 89, 90, kind of their specialist left on left. Comes in to face Reese Robinette, throws 1 pitch. Reese Robinette hits it to Dean Curley at second base, who, spoiler alert, stunning, doesn't make the play, gets through the right side, big-time stuff. Arkansas's got first and second, nobody out. They go to a righty, Braden Krenzel, freshman, who was really good for them last week. He throws to Justin Thomas, who hits the ball pretty well to right center field, ends up being the second out. And then Tennessee goes to Arvidsson, their lefty, who gave them 106 pitches out of the bullpen last week in an elimination game. He's basically the Cole Gibbler of their team, just a lefty that's emerged, unreal strikeout rate. They bring him in to face Charles Davalon, who hits lefties pretty well. All he needed was 1 pitch. Smokes it through the left side, dropped it right into left center field. Good piece of hitting there.
Sounds like a heavy hitter to me.
Yeah, it does.
Maybe. I don't know.
Shout out to Curtis for having the heavy hitter. Many would say that Brent Iredale's single with 1 out is really what set the tone for the inning. But
I can get behind that too.
Who knows? And then Vahiva Loy gets a 1-0 pitch and hits it 104 miles an hour. All of the home runs today were not hit as hard as Vahiva Aloy hit this ball to right center field, but he hit it to the wrong part of the park. I got a text during the game, shout out to Made Choate, who said that Phil Elson for sure thought the ball was gone, like was calling it as if it was a 3-run home run. That, we talk about the Charlie Welch moment. Like at this point, you could just say Charlie Welch and everyone knows what you're talking about. That would have been a Charlie Welch type of moment. Would have made it a 7-2 game, would have really blown it open. Vahiva Aloy will have to wait another day to get his big one. But that run was massive, makes it a 4-2 game. Andrew Fisher's home run in the 9th inning makes it a 4-3 game. You look back at the Kojal stealing home, or advancing home on a wild pitch. Tennessee getting a run on an error, massive, and then Charles Davalon being able to give Arkansas a big extra insurance run. All of this stuff mattered in this game. Charles Davalon, I thought that was the biggest swing of the game. You go to your top lefty out of the bullpen, expecting to close the door, and you get a base hit that drives in an insurance run. That was when I feel like Arkansas won the game.
Yeah, I mean, again, it was just you needed every one of these plays. You needed every one of these players to do what they did. And, it's just to finish out the way you did. And you used 2 pitchers today, once again. Yeah. I mean, you got to be happy about that. You're feeling so fresh going into this next one. We know what tomorrow's going to be, which I know we'll talk about, the little preview of it. But you kept grinding. You kept making plays. It was a gritty win. Tennessee gave you, but I think I was even telling Curtis with Phillips, when he finally came out of the game, if I'm Tony Vitello, I'm like, dude, you did great. Thank you. Like you did so much better than we expected you probably do because of how many opportunities were lost. But Arkansas, again, just made those plays here and there, just enough. It can't ever be easy, but win's a win. That's all I can say.
Yeah, both teams are just so unbelievably talented. It really showed out there on the field, man. It was it's kind of ridiculous thinking this is a college baseball game. A lot of these dudes are going to be in the league here, before too long. It's crazy. Yeah. Arkansas just played a little bit of a cleaner game, in my opinion. Like Tennessee's super, super talented. They also have the tendency to be real sloppy out there. But yeah, it was unnerving for the first hour and a half that we were sitting there, and they just had Phillips on the ropes the entire time. He was never comfortable in there. Never was. They were always putting pressure on him. Couldn't come through. And, we were actually right before Helfrich did what he did, we had decided we got to switch up the vibes. Like, they don't score here, we're moving. We're going to go stand somewhere else. We didn't have to. We wound up getting to stay in the exact same spot. Prime real estate out there. Felt good.
Carson Bowles is in the building. Shout out to Carson Bowles. Giving Arkansas some big time performances this year. Love to see it. He's a big fan favorite as well. We're gonna get to the chat in a second. I do want to pull up this quick comment here from Papa Dragon, who says for how much traffic Phillips had, he really had a good start. I want to give Phillips some credit because I was very skeptical about his ability to really face this Arkansas lineup and get through them. He ends up giving up 8 hits in this game. He's faced Arkansas twice and has given up 15 hits, but has only given up 7 runs in those hits. He gives them 5 1/3. Only gives up the 4 runs, which kind of looks worse than it is because one of those runs was left out there. Strikes out 5, walks 2, throws 94 pitches. You could tell Tennessee didn't want to go to that bullpen too early because he didn't know. Is this a game where I'm shutting the door? We got a lead. What's going to happen? I think Tony V was kind of waiting on his offense to wake up a little bit. I do want to give him some credit and commend him. But before we get to the chat, guys, I want to talk about the antics, because that was such a big talking point coming in of, is Tennessee going to come in here puffing their chest? Are they going to be walking around doing all the same stuff that they do to all these other teams? When the bully is bullying other kids and someone stands up to them, what are they going to do? I thought it was fascinating that of all the controversy coming out of this game, it's on the Arkansas side. It's about Zack Root being mean. It's about Gabe Gaggle being mean and all this. I love that. Do y'all? Yeah, well, see, here's my thing, and I even tweeted this out because I saw with some Tennessee fans and some people in the media, they were like, just, okay, what's going on here? Everyone calls us classless. What's going on? I'm like, well, one, the way that they're acting is not the way Arkansas acts all the year. They're just doing it because of you, for one. And two, you can't sit there. You're like, it's like a basketball term. You can't sit there and then hip check somebody into the scores table. And then when that person gets up and shoves you back, you go flailing and you're like looking at the officials like, what's going on here? What is, I just can't understand this. It's like, you brought this on yourselves. You brought this attitude. You brought this personality on yourselves. And I'm not going to sit here and say that, because it'd be one thing if Arkansas was doing it all the time, because I wouldn't like it if they did it all the time. But that's just something to where it's like, you can't sit there and be like, well, I don't understand why people are having so many issues with us and why they're talking so much trash. This is unreal. I don't get it. It's like, look in the mirror, dude. Yeah. I loved it though, because it whatever it takes to fuel you, I love it. Yeah, look in the mirror. Just the inability to read the room there. Yeah. Why do you think that all of a sudden this is happening from the other team in every game that you play? It's because the actions that you perform yourselves that tick people off and make them want to get the best of you. Do you think that Zack Root was just, you think it was just that he was fired up to face Fisher because he's a really good hitter? No. You think it was just the matchup that really got him going like that? No, that wasn't the half of it, man. You make it personal. When you do things like that and you try to show up your opponent, you make it personal. So don't get your feelings hurt when they return the favor. And real quick, also, these guys all have social media and they can see exactly how you acted in the last regional. It's like, we're not even going to give you that opportunity to do that. We're not going to let you do that. We're not going to let you come in here and try to dictate all those crazy antics and try to take it away from us. Like, no, we're going to take it and we're going to shove it down your throat. We're going to give you a taste of your own medicine. We're going to win. And I think it's so funny because, we said it going into the series back in the regular season. We kind of called it. We were like, I don't think Tennessee's going to be doing all this crazy stuff because I think Tony V knows. He's been on staff with Dave Van Horn. He knows the kind of things Dave Van Horn tells to his team. It's not going to be the type of thing that really upsets Arkansas and makes them play tight. It's going to be the type of thing that Dave Van Horn can put on that bulletin board and say, don't let this happen. Yeah. And so I think it's also so funny that to see them complaining because Tony clearly told his team before that series and today, because Tennessee really didn't have much juice in that dugout. They really didn't have a ton of barking going on. Well, I think it's probably frustrating them. They're like, we're trying to tone it down, and now you're doing what we do to us. It makes it that much sweeter. Yeah, Arkansas toned them down because when you get 2 hits in an entire ball game, you don't have a whole bunch of celebrating in that dugout. Yeah, you go 4 innings without getting a runner on base to start the game. I could see how that would quiet your dugout a little bit. Their biggest celebrations were a couple double plays they had there early. Yep. So which, to be fair, we're pretty big. That's what was so cool about this game is like it's 4-3, and you kind of think, oh, maybe not that super eventful. Pretty much every inning had some type of drama, some type of tomfoolery going on. Well, guys, being here. We want to get into the chat and hear from the Hog faithful because I know they're just buzzing, and I'm sure they're very humble, taking this win in stride, not getting too worked up about this thing. That's probably what's going on here. But before we do that, we want to remind everyone about our friends over at Radiant Elements Medical Spa. There's no doubt that tough workouts deserve a tough recovery. At Radiant Elements Medical Spa, their deep tissue, sports massage, and infrared sauna help you bounce back faster, hit the weights harder, and stay in the game. As we have covered, self-care is not soft. It is what winners do. It's what the Arkansas Razorbacks do. Hopefully those boys are in the sauna right now. Hopefully they're getting that massage, getting them shoulders loosened out. And for you guys that are wondering what to give your special someone for that special occasion, Radiant Elements Medical Spa have all different types of services to make it the best gift ever. Check them out in the Weddington Plaza right next to the Lion's Mane, which we've determined is a barbershop.
It is.
Or book an appointment online. The QR code at the top right corner of your screen to get 15% off your first service. It's Radiant Elements Medical Spa. Self-care is for everyone, not just the men, the women, and the children too. You like that, John?
I do. I like that. That's great.
Let's listen and see what our faithful Hog fans are doing here. Carmer Duke starts it off. I'm glad that we put past our beef about him saying Star Wars sucks. He says the Davalon RBI single was the difference. No, he's 100% right.
Huge, man.
Someone could point back and say, well, actually, I think the Cam Kojal getting home was the difference. Well, that's perfectly fair too. Well, I think the Andrew Fisher double play was the difference. That's the
Ryder Helfrich's 2-run home run. Yeah,
all of these things matter, man. It all adds up, and we knew this was going to be. We knew there wasn't going to be too much separation between these two teams. Woo MF Pig says Root has been hanging out with McIntyre. This is true. McIntyre, you want to talk about setting the tone and talking your shit. Will McIntyre certainly wasn't scared to do that against Tennessee. I'm sure we'll see him later on here. Yeah, Root looked like he was taking some pages out of the McIntyre playbook. I will say, Root, it feels like this has been culminating for a while now because last week he pitched with a lot of emotion, but I love to see that, man.
Oh, dude. Like I'm telling you, that was something to where, again, it's one thing if you do all that and then you get shut up and you're like, oh, gosh, I wish that wouldn't have happened. But with Root especially, it's like, man, that we were looking at each other. When he threw that 99-mile-an-hour fastball, it was just like, excuse me? Yeah. Like, where did this come from? I was like, he went and talked to God and was like, just give me all the juice I can get, and I'm going to throw as hard as I can. And so it's like that mixed in with emotion, mixed in with the opponent, mixed with everything on the line. Again, I loved it. And if it fueled him, that's great. And it's just nice for somebody else to feel the other side of it. Be like, yeah, it sucks, doesn't it, Tennessee, when you have these people showing you up every single time.
I wish I had I wish we had our stats team here to provide the manpower to see how many times this Tennessee offense has been limited to 2 hits.
I can't imagine a lot.
No. Yeah, I mean, Root he had them off balance, man. They were up there guessing half the time. He was mixing it up. He was nasty, man.
Yep.
I absolutely love it.
He was nasty.
Talk all you want, buddy.
One of the things that's interesting about Root is he's almost better against righties than he is against lefties, which is crazy because you see a left-handed pitcher throwing 97 and you're like, oh, it must be horrible on lefties. But his best pitch arguably is his changeup, which plays really well against righties. The difference that takes him over the top, the big breaking ball, which he had, and he was spotting it up in, out, down. He even got some on the edge of the strike zone. Like, he had it moving. That is the difference maker for him that takes him over the top. I mean, when you're a lefty throwing 97, he throws a ton of strikes. Like, the command's always going to be there. You mix in that changeup, you had that big breaking ball, and he also threw the cutter a few times. Not a ton. He probably threw 7 cutters total, but he would always either get a foul ball or just an uncomfortable swing against it. You never really have a comfortable swing. You know, a guy like Liam Doyle, who is super dynamic, has better numbers than Zack Root on the year. It's fastball slider. It's a 50-50 proposition. With Root, it really is any pitch, any count, any time. If you look at it, he splits them up. Those top 3 pitches, it's almost 30%, 30%, 30% dead even. It's really, you said keep him guessing. He literally does keep him guessing. Shout out to Kip C for our super chat. He says, last week he got good Root. Today we got assassin Root. And Gabe shut it down. Let's finish this tomorrow. Both of these guys did not pitch well against Tennessee the last time. Yeah. Gabe Gackles, I thought, was he's given up 5 home runs all year, 6 now. 3 of them are against this Tennessee squad. And so I thought it was good for those guys to go out there and shut it down.
Yeah, I thought so too. And that's where, again, you use 2 pitchers. You got freshness. You got everything. I guess this was an ideal situation for you. So I was happy to see both those guys perform well.
Yeah, Gacko could pitch tomorrow.
Yeah,
if he needed.
That's what I was about to say. I think he'd be available if they need him pretty easily.
Yeah, absolutely. T Razorback, appreciate the super chat, buddy. He says, cool stats, Fisher. We'll take the dub. Fisher does have good stats.
Yeah, absolutely.
He added to one of them at the end of the game, but he also took an L. So
I know we probably were going to bring this up, but since I was thinking about it, Shout out to whoever the kid was that threw the ball back onto the field when Fisher did it. That was good stuff. That was like, you know what? That's when you know it just means more. It's like you're throwing the ball back, not because it could have been any other Tennessee player that did it, and they probably would have kept it. But since it was Andrew Fisher, like, nah, screw this stuff. I don't want this trash.
You got a roar there, too.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought it up because there's been some debate in the chat. Some people really, really liked it. They loved it. Some people were like, we're Arkansas fans. We don't need to be doing that.
Listen,
what's the downside of it? Like, he chose to not keep the ball. That's fair.
Did it the right way, too. Like, didn't throw it near any players. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you just kind of toss it back out there like, oh.
Yeah, anybody says, like, we're Razorback fans. I'm like, man, after what Razorback fans have been through it as a baseball program at times, let them have some fun, for crying out loud. Like, let them do it. Who cares?
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't try to be the role model for the kids.
Yeah. This is not the week for that.
No.
Shout out to Lucas, who gives us a super chat. He didn't have anything to say. I hope he didn't follow up with a comment. Because if so, I do not see it. Actually,
a hard one to find.
I lied. He says, Woo Pig Suey from Virginia. All I want for my birthday is no game 3. I wonder if it's the guy that I met on the way out of Baum today who told me he was from Virginia.
Might have been.
So.
Yeah, he's probably the only one Razorback fan in Virginia anyway, so it has to be the same guy.
Well, we got Robert Stewart in Virginia. So
is he a Razorback fan? I thought he's an astute member of the media.
No. Now he's just a graduate from Arkansas, so it's all good. SCT with an inappropriate comment says Hickey and Hole. That's what I'm not reading that.
Yeah, don't do that.
I'm not reading that. I'm sorry. SCT, we love you, buddy, but we can't read that one. Lucas follows up with all I want for my birthday is no game 3 sweep. So I don't know. I hope he knows you didn't have to give 2, but we appreciate that, buddy.
I do not want anything to do with the game 3.
Nope.
But if it happened, could you imagine the atmosphere, the intensity, and everything there? Good grief. We'll talk about that if we get to that point.
Yeah, everyone's going to take off work on Monday.
Yeah, seriously.
I don't know if this is a true statement because I have not tasted the golden nectar that we all love just yet, but C. Till says beer hits different after a game like this.
I'm looking forward to finding out.
Yeah,
we will test that theory live and in color here in a minute.
What was that meme they made of me when I said I needed a cigarette after that? It's like it's kind of the same feeling after a game like that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Hey, I'm stressed, dude. I'm exhausted too because the adrenaline spikes. You know, we talked about Zack Root. I don't know how he was able to come back out after that adrenaline dump in the 6th inning. Me, I'm exhausted, dude. I didn't get a lot of sleep, but I'm just the highs and lows. I'm going to sleep like a baby tonight after Sugar Sean takes the ball.
I was about to say, you don't need a beer. You need an upper so you can get back ready for that fight tonight for sure.
Well, speaking of uppers, my guy JT Hazelwood, who, by the way, I want to give a birthday shout out to his beautiful girlfriend Bethany, who it's her birthday. I think she's 24, something like that. Hope she's having a great birthday. But he says, who needs Viagra when you got Helfrich home runs? I also want to give JT his credit because he's been with me on the Helfrich train for a long time. Like even last year when Helfrich was hitting 186, he was on board and he saw the vision. And he's got I think a family friend who just hates Helfrich. I mean, as we know, 1 in 3 Razorback fans hate Ryder Helfrich for whatever reason. But I think people are starting to come around and understand what he brings to the table here. Curtis, you'll appreciate this. The student section, who is, an unreal basketball post-game chatter, says he has officially migrated his fandom from hoops to the diamond.
Love it.
Wow. Okay.
How we doing, man?
Yep.
You doing good? Yeah,
yep, we got Brent.
Appreciate you. We got him a front row seat. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
I like that from the student section. I will tell you this. If he's going to start frequenting those comments, you got to know Epic Troll.
Epic Troll,
he's an Epic Troll,
section.
He's a rage baiter. He's a rage baiter for sure. Let's see what PK Birdsong has to say. He says, Root let his nuts hang. A little too close for comfort after the double play, but awesome job. He did just that, man. There's something to be said about the best moment of your season, the biggest stage possible, playing your best ball, man.
I have a question. Did any of you guys see Fisher's reaction to Root teeing off on him?
I did.
Because I didn't even think I was so dialed in on Root going nuts and getting his jersey ripped off by Helfrich and everything that I didn't even look at Fisher the entire time. He heard it. There's no way he didn't.
Well, that was the only thing I was going to say is knowing what we know, the little we do know about Fisher, there ain't no way that he was just putting his head down and going back to the dugout. There's just zero chance.
I bet he was looking for the umps to step in. And
anybody
see this going on?
Yeah.
I had to guess.
For sure.
Shout out to John Pickman IV, who's been crushing it in the chat here lately. Also brought the boots to our attention.
Yep.
We got a hall call going on in that room, which means there's going to be a hall call in here soon.
Stand by.
But we appreciate the super chat. Johnny says, "Come outside and play, Liam Doyle. We ain't scared." I like this a lot. I love this energy, and hell, it's a lot better facing Liam Doyle when it's an elimination game for Liam Doyle and not an elimination game for you.
Exactly.
There are worse positions to be in than the only thing standing in between you and Omaha is a pitcher that you put up 8 runs against.
Yep.
You touched him up once. You touched his fastball, his slider, his feelings. So why not do it again?
Yeah, love that.
Make it happen.
Let's see. By the way, David says it seems like Root has gained velocity as the season went on. This is true. And look, this is also by design. Dude, I'll never forget. So Zack Root, of course, I've said it once 1,000 times, was a big deal in the portal. Like, he was a big commit to get. I remember his first outing of the fall, and he was 88 to 90. And I was like,
yep.
I thought this guy threw harder. I thought he'd maybe, I knew he was a little bit of a, mixed at speeds kind of guy, but I was like, I thought he was like up to 96. I was like really worried. And he got roughed up a little bit in the fall, and I was like, this guy, like, he might not be, like that good. He clearly figured it out in the spring, and I think he's one of those guys. He's an adult. Fall scrimmages don't matter to him. He's clearly ramped up his velocity. He touched 97 on the stadium gun last week, and I remember being like kind of blown away by that. He's, according to TrackMan, touched 99 miles an hour on that Andrew Fisher strikeout. I would imagine that's the hardest pitch he's thrown in his entire life. And again, to do it in the biggest moment of your season against the best hitter you've faced all year, that's quite the statement to make in front of a lot of scouts.
Oh yeah. That's that when everybody's watching. I mean, I don't know what the record's going to be for the most watched super regional ever. Like, I don't know. Maybe this ends up breaking it, but there's no doubt that if you are someone who's watching college baseball, watching a bunch of pros, future pros,
you got a message for the fans.
Yeah, it's good. But anyways, I thought it was great, and I want to keep them doing it that way too. So,
okay.
but
no doubt.
Yeah. So we got also.
I got you.
We're gonna have the Hawk games coming
up. We'll talk
up.
to you in a second.
Yeah, we'll get you, Brick. Yeah.
Vince Remy says it's a $122,000 jackpot raffle, by the way. I forgot to track this throughout the game. They're handing that sucker out tomorrow, right?
Happy and they'll have to.
Yeah, they have to because of that. Yeah,
because you don't know if you'll have a game 3. So
yeah, and to be fair, I think they were going to do that anyway, right?
Yeah, they will.
But no, that's awesome, man. Hayden Ulmer, our guy, shout out to him for just crushing it and just bringing the juice, bringing the energy, and bringing the thirst.
Yep.
The
he's
thirst
really good
for
at
that golden nectar. He says, I feel better about tomorrow than I did today. This team mashes left-handed pitchers, which is true. Arkansas, not only do they lead the SEC in hitting against left-handed pitchers, it's by like 40 points. Like, it's not even close. And it's kind of weird because you think about all the left-handed bats in this lineup. A lot of them are at the top of the lineup. Arkansas hits lefties like extremely well, like better than they do righties. Righties with velo have kind of been their weakness. We saw a little bit of that today, but it is kind of fascinating that Liam Doyle is never an easy matchup. No. But I think Hog fans and maybe even that Razorback lineup feels pretty good about the matchup, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, listen, if you can do what you were doing today even and, getting the hits, but just take advantage of them. Like, I'm not saying that Liam Doyle is not a good player at all. Like, you got to respect him. He's going to be the best pitcher you face this weekend, but I'm not scared of him. I'm not thinking like, oh, jeez, well, if we could just get 2 runs tomorrow, it's going to be okay. It'll be a miracle. It's like, I'm not scared of him, but he is good enough to shut you down if you're screwing around and not being smart at the plate.
I'm more concerned or interested to see if Arkansas can hold down that Tennessee lineup again.
Yeah,
than I am getting to Doyle for a few runs.
Isn't it funny?
Maybe that's crazy, but
no, I think that's 100% fair. I mean, this Tennessee offense, like you said, not many times they give up 2. I mean, they're held to 2 hits. It is funny that we watched a Razorback starter pitch with a lot of emotion. And now we get to watch Gage Wood pitch tomorrow night. Do you think he's going to be feeling himself a little bit tomorrow?
Him and Doyle, that is an electric matchup for so many reasons. Every sense of the word, man. Yep. The arms, the antics, it's going to be crazy.
Yep.
I mean, seriously, I don't know if you can find a better stuff matchup in the country. I don't think you can find a better F-bomb matchup in the country. Shout out to Michael, who says now at Foghorns after his first game at Baum. Wow.
Hey, appreciate you, Michael.
You picked a damn good one to go to. Yeah. Shout out to Madison McIntyre. He's in the building as
There
well.
it is.
Never a doubt. Had him all the way. Never a doubt.
Absolutely. And shout out to JB Smith. We appreciate the super chat. Says, why not us, Andrew? I don't have an answer for your question, JB. I don't have an answer. Why? I don't have a counter.
What if they do it?
What if they do it?
Don't
tweet that.
You remember the responses to that? Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Man, people were pissed.
Update.
Yeah. I'm going to start responding to everybody. Yeah. Update. Love that. Lucas says, Woo picks will we go Hogs by 90. Sorry, I'm all over the place here. Shout out to you, Lucas, man. We appreciate that. Yeah. You can tell Lucas has been enjoying himself today.
Yeah, Lucas.
Anytime you get the triple down, I love that stuff.
Yep.
Chris Lee wants to say if Tennessee would have done it, y'all would have absolutely hated it. I'm assuming he's talking about the Zack Root thing. And here's my thing. Obviously, if your son crashes his crashes his car and does something bad, it sucks, but you pay for it. If someone else crashes their car, it's like, yeah, screw that guy. What are you driving recklessly for?
Yeah.
You know, like it's how it works. But also, that's why we get to host these things, and we get to do that because our guys came out and played well in the biggest game of the year. You blew your load against Wake Forest. Not our fault.
Right.
Yeah.
You should be mad about it.
Yeah.
You shouldn't like it. And you're absolutely right. If that happened on the other end, we would be mad. That's
1,000%.
Yes. This is not a gotcha.
No, it's all the same.
Here's the thing, guys. If the circumstances were completely different and the game had played out a different way, y'all might feel differently about it.
Yes.
Fair to say
100%.
that?
Crazy how that works.
100%.
That is crazy. Woo MF Pig has a great comment here. He says, can we talk about that pop-up in the Bermuda Triangle? So
underrated part of all this.
Yes.
it really was. And by the way, now it was going to be a foul ball, so it really wouldn't have been like the end of the world, but it was like the first or second pitch Gackle threw in the ninth inning, gets popped up, and it wasn't down the first base line. It was down the third base line, but you started seeing that, converging of three fielders in foul territory right there on the edge. Charles Davalon comes in and makes the play. That was huge. Hog fans needed to see that. And hell, it wound up. Hey, Will McIntyre's in the house.
There he is.
Yeah.
Will McIntyre.
Big Mac.
We were just talking about him. How about that?
I know.
But I thought that was pretty funny. You always get a sarcastic cheer and bomb when a ball like that gets caught.
Yeah.
I know. It's almost like people remember something.
Yeah, almost. John Pickman, we appreciate you. He says Tennessee fans headed to the 3 local copium dealer.
Jeez.
I love that. Listen. Obviously we can sympathize because we've been in that spot a billion times. I'm just glad it's not today.
Yes.
I'm just glad it's
goodness.
not today. Shout out to Karma Duke with the super chat. We appreciate you, buddy. He says, gents, our Hogs ain't scared of Doyle. Give Tenor all the smoke. They can't handle when a team gives it back to them. We will be much better with runners in scoring position tomorrow. Tennessee defense will continue to be trash. Ticket punch Sunday. Love this energy and
keep it going.
Listen, whether we're not saying that Arkansas is 100% going to just kill Liam Doyle tomorrow, but he is right. They're definitely not scared of him.
No.
And they're not scared of any of these guys. And they're definitely, again, not going to be flustered by Tennessee talking their shit, Tennessee talking their trash, or whatever they're going to do. I think Hogs like being in this situation. Pigs like being in the mud, and the Hogs are in the mud.
Yeah.
You can meet us down here, but just know we like being here.
Yeah.
Volunteers don't like the mud. I don't even know what they are.
Yeah. He's like, what are you going to volunteer for?
You think
Charity?
Smokey the dog likes rolling around? Probably not.
Like a pig.
I don't think so.
By the way, we can talk about this matchup a lot. We can talk about the hitting, pitching. Tusk would absolutely maul Smokey. I'm talking about maul him into oblivion.
Yeah, 100%.
There's no debate. Mike Leach would have absolutely been on the right side of history in this mascot debate.
Yep.
Mike Leach would have loved that. God rest his soul. Shout out to Keno Appreciator. He says Tennessee fans and players acted like clowns for years and are just now experiencing what they were dishing out. Well, to be fair, Tennessee fans did not know that college baseball was played until about 5-6 years ago. So they don't realize that these kinds of games, super regionals, have a lot of intensity to them, even though they have been 5 straight. At this point, I think we all understand high stakes, high emotion. You're going to have a lot of emotion. And like you said, Curtis, it's not like Zack Root just saw Andrew Fisher and was like, oh, now I'm going to be excited. He's pitching in the 6th inning of a freaking super regional game. He's putting a bunch of money in his bank account by shoving against these dudes.
He's definitely doing that.
I think he was probably going to be fired up no matter who was up at the plate.
Well, and I also want to throw this out there, too, to this example here. Y'all remember this, and I'll never forget it. 2013 Razorback football against Texas A&M. Johnny Manziel comes to town in Fayetteville. And it was intense. It was an intense moment of the game. Dietrich Wise gets a sack on Manziel, and Dietrich Wise dances like crazy. And it was like,
great.
And everyone was like, whoa.
He did the fraternity one, yeah.
Yeah, and everyone was like, well, no penalty flag? That was one of those things where the refs were like, it's Johnny Manziel. We're going to let this one go. I feel like that's a lot of this right here, too. Is like all these umpires know Tennessee. They've umped Tennessee games. They're probably like, we're going to allow a little bit from the other side of it because we're sick of them always having to be the ones.
What you giggling about over there, Curtis?
I'll show you when we get done here.
It's inappropriate?
No, it's not inappropriate, but it's electric.
Okay.
And it involves me and you. So
okay.
okay.
I like that a lot.
I'll be over here.
I will say, last thing I'll say about Tennessee fans, I think they should embrace this a lot more than they do. Obviously, it sucks when you're on the losing end of it, no matter what. But they're going to be back tomorrow, have their chance. The fact that people are excited to watch your team play, the fact that players get excited to play against your team, the fact that a lot of eyeballs are on you should not be something that has you so butthurt all the time. Like, oh wow, you guys are excited because you beat us. It must be because we're some unique. It's like, just be happy that you're here. You're in the thick of it. You're the defending national champs. There's a target on your back. Embrace it. Okay. Yep. Like quit complaining about it. Sharkensaw, our guy, he says, which by the way, Sharkensaw's here, right? Didn't he say he was coming?
I think he did. It's hard to keep up these days.
Yeah, it is hard to keep up these days. Sharkensaw, where you at, buddy? But he says, no more drinking Kool-Aid. We're moving on to root beer. Hogs finna sweep. Vol's going to keep playing the victim. This team is on a mission. Hogs by 9,000.
9,000.
He took it up.
Okay.
Wow.
9,000.
You know, I could see it happening tomorrow where Hogs scored 9,000 runs.
It definitely wouldn't be stunning to me if Arkansas were to win by 9,000 runs.
Not at all.
Hey, we got a moment of silence here.
Yeah.
Our guy Quinn says, "Congrats on the W. 1 win away now. Our bats went cold today, but I knew we wouldn't get 2 wins after the heartbreaker last night. Still a very good season for us." You are correct, Quinn. That was a very good season. Shout out to Butch Thompson and his squad. Shout out to Auburn. That is a respectable season. And honestly, wanted to hang out with Quinn in Omaha.
You should come anyway.
The invitation is still open, Quinn. You are more than welcome to come hang with us in Omaha. We'll let you sleep on the floor of the Airbnb.
Sorry, I was just gonna say, and also, how crazy is it, guys, that there's only going to be now officially 2, maybe, teams in Omaha from the SEC. 2. That's it.
Yeah, that is crazy, isn't it?
Crazy.
Sounds like a nice road to me.
I would like it.
Unfortunately, one of them is going to be directly in the path.
Correct. It sucks, man.
Do your work early, boys.
Yep. Take care of business.
Absolutely. Hey, also West Virginia. Let's get it going a little bit.
Help us out here, man.
Let's not give up 16 runs tomorrow, okay, West Virginia?
After giving up no hits through 4 or whatever it was there. Yeah, what was going on?
Shout out to Michael Carter, who says Woo Pig Suey will be there tomorrow.
Love that.
I think he also said he was here. Michael Carter, if you're in the building, come shake my hand now. You got your presence is hereby demanded.
Report in, Mike.
Yep.
Steven says, fellas, what do y'all think about Vitello talking smack to our players, specifically Root? Was he talking smack? I honestly, I'm being dead serious. I honestly don't know because we were sitting, we didn't have a good view of their dugout.
Was
he talking to the dugout?
I don't know. That's why I started this. I didn't know if you guys saw it or if anybody else in the chat did, but.
I mean, we should just get one of the 8 players that are here at Foghorns right now. Be like, hey guys, do you remember this?
Tell us where Tony Vitello touched you.
Honestly, if it happened, I don't think I care.
I don't care.
I don't.
Whatever.
I really don't care.
Yeah.
What I honestly, and if I don't know this for sure, Steven, so don't quote me on this, but if I had to guess, I would say that he was probably mad at the umpires for not saying something for Root and whoever
probably
talking their crap.
Yeah.
And so I bet that was probably what the skirmish was about there. But it's the postseason.
Let it roll.
I don't want to say anything bad about our future king. Before, I don't want people pulling up these receipts in 3 years. Dance King. Shout out to Dance King. Leaves us a super chat. He says, was anyone else having flashback to 18 on the foul ball to shallow left in the 8th? No, I think we absolutely were. No doubt about that.
I always do. If any ball's even somewhat close in the foul line anywhere, I always do, sadly.
Yeah. Aiden Watson says, why did Marcus Phillips keep trying the pickoff over and over? Announcer said he was trying to set up a pitch, but it seemed a little odd. So what's funny is this has been a big story for Marcus Phillips and Tennessee all year. Mm-hmm. There was a point, I don't know if it's still the case, there was a point where Marcus Phillips had allowed more stolen bases than any starting pitcher in the country. And it was like by a wide margin in the SEC. Matter of fact, the time they feel like they figured that out was when they came to Arkansas. He threw over 40 times in that first game. He threw over a good bit. Did not work, by the way. Arkansas steals 2 bags in this game. And I believe they were 2 for 2 on stolen bases, right?
I think so.
Yeah,
and that doesn't include the wild pitch. Shout out to Charles Davlon. Shout out to Brent Iredale, who stole on a breaking ball, which is always as a baseball purist, when someone steals on a breaking ball, I'm like, man, tip of the cap. That's good stuff right there. But yeah, he threw over a lot, and it's kind of for that reason. It's been a huge point of emphasis. I was talking to Daniel Shee about this the other day. I was like, I don't think that's a huge thing that Arkansas, because it's a huge thing that people talk about. I'm like, Arkansas's not the most active team on the base path. So if you want to throw over 30 times, feel free. You know what I mean? And I don't think it necessarily affected him on the mound.
Were you keeping account of that or no?
Last time I saw, I think it ended up being 18, 19.
I was going to say we were well into double digits by.
Yeah.
It was over 20 for sure.
Oh, it was?
In game one. Or no, not today. Yeah. In game one when he was pitching here a few weeks ago. So, I mean, for it to be 18, 19 a day, that's a lot of pickoff attempts for a team that is dead last in the SEC in stolen bases.
Yeah.
Interesting. But John Pigman, who's just crushed it with a super chat, says everyone sacrificed money to Inside Arkansas for the pig now. Listen, I'm not gonna co-sign that, but I respect this mentality. Absolutely.
Yeah. But we do appreciate it, but also make sure you got enough money to get to Omaha.
Yeah, absolutely. You definitely got a plan for that trip for sure. Shout out to Donovan Millican, who says, who cares if Ruth, I'm assuming this is supposed to be Root, if Ruth, maybe he's talking about Babe, I don't know, celebrates, he struck him. I mean, this is super regional. Everyone needs to quit getting butt hurt. Go Vols. If you win, you talk. That's how it works. Who y'all starting for game 3? So this is a Tennessee fan. Okay. This is a Tennessee fan, which, we appreciate that nonetheless. We do not know who they're going to start for game 3. since we're name dropping players and families that are in here, we did speak to Arkansas's potential Game 3 starter. His father did not confirm nor deny that he would be on the mound in Game 3, which, by the way, is not just coach speak, not just keeping mums the word. When you're in this situation, there's not a ton of scheduling you do.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't even announce that they were starting Gage Wood in Game 2 until I'm sure they announced it now.
You have no idea what Game 2 would look like.
Yeah, all you can
can
speak to is who's throwing the first inning of tomorrow's game.
Yep.
That's really all you need to worry about.
And there's not going to be a Game 3, so who cares?
I mean, true.
I
guess we should have led with that probably.
Yeah.
Ryan McDaniel, we appreciate you. He says, me and Hogpan, son leading the FU Fisher chant. Love that.
Okay. Yeah. I'm sure you heard that too.
Yeah, I'm sure he did. But then, love that type of energy.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Big Orange, who's been in our chat this week. He said, congratulations, Razorbacks.
Wow.
I'm looking forward to our matchup in football later on in the year.
Big
Orange has moved on. Wow.
Yeah.
Big Orange has abandoned his balls. He's like, I'm out, bro.
Are you looking forward to it? Because that hasn't been going well either.
Well, I'll tell you, Big Orange, you're looking forward to it a lot more than we are. Now, we are in a different situation because we still have 3 weeks of baseball to play. But that's, we'll give you that one.
Yeah, we'll let it happen. Let it slide.
We'll gladly make take trade, right?
Mm-hmm.
They finish off this super regional. You can win by 1,000 in football if you want, for all I care.
Yep, that's how I feel.
Love that. Alex Edens, who's been a loyal supporter of the Baumbastic podcast, says Root showed out and told them all about it. Love this team. 10 hits will score many more runs against Doyle. I like that.
I would hope
man.
so.
Well, listen, I'm telling you right now, if Arkansas gets 10 hits against Doyle tomorrow, they're scoring at least 6 runs. Like that, I just feel like it's going to be that level if they get 10 hits on it.
They scored 8 runs on 8 runs, 6 earned on 11 hits last time. You know what? Go ahead and replicate that.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind it. It wouldn't
be
bad.
too upset. I really do feel like when you're in a game this close, obviously, you still got to go out there and win the next one, but it's like it feels like so much more of a gut punch when you use arms that you actually want to use. It's not like Tennessee threw off and just threw some random redshirt freshman that has 2 innings on the year. They went to one of their top lefties who has 50 innings on the year for them. They went to a righty that's been really good for them. He was the winning pitcher in their regional final last week. You go to your lefty, Arvidsson, who's got 69 strikeouts in 30 innings or something crazy like that. Like arguably their best bullpen arm right now. And of course, those guys didn't have a ton of a workload. Like they could probably come back, but like they pitched, like both teams pitched like to win this game. Obviously you got to. And so for Arkansas to kind of have it in such a low stress way. And I even think Gackel would probably be available tomorrow if they really needed. That's a big deal, man. And I think for Tennessee to not take advantage of this game where Arkansas had so many missed opportunities feels like even more of a gut punch. But I got to be honest, had Arkansas lost that game, this would have been like one of the worst losses. This would have been the type of loss you talk about for like 7 years.
Very easily could have been.
Remember we out-hit those dudes 10-3 and lost or whatever? You're like, oh, that
would have hurt. I even told Curtis, I forgot what point in time it was in the game, but I think it was when Arkansas just took the 1-run lead and it was getting late. I was just like, man, Arkansas loses this, it's gonna hurt so bad. It's gonna hurt so bad. But we didn't have to worry about it. Nope, we will never know. No, not that feeling.
Yeah. Well, one day we'll find out what it's like to lose a postseason game.
One day.
Ozarkian, shout out to him. He says, would more Arkansas or LSU fans show up at Omaha? So again, I'm gonna look past the fact that we're getting ahead of ourselves here.
Yeah.
I hate to admit this also. LSU fans do travel extremely well.
They do.
Now Hoover, they love Hoover. LSU fans, someone must have told them that Hoover is where the national champion is determined, because LSU fans take over Hoover like nobody's business. They also travel pretty well to Omaha. I believe they are the defending champions of the Rocco Jello Shot Challenge, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
They are. They did that. So
they did cheat to get it though.
Yeah, of course, everybody cheats to get it. It's like somebody's up there like, whoa, who bought 5,000 Jello shots? It's like, did they really? Who did it? Like, come on now.
It's not what it once was.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah. Well, boys, I believe we are close to the end of our journey here. We've gone about an hour. We've had a great time. It's been a really long day, despite the fact that it really was just a 4 p.m. game. But it feels like it's been a long day that started with some rain, finished with some sunshine.
The weather was great, by the way. I don't know if we mentioned it, but perfect weather today. That
breeze helped a few home runs leave the yard, but it also helped us feel better. We were also in the shade for most of the game, but man, it's a lot of fun. What's left on your brains after this?
Well, the only thing I got to say is, you got you're one win away. You're 1 win away from getting back to Omaha after being gone way too long, 2 years, and you're on the cusp of it. Just go and take it. It's right there in front of you. Go and take it. And I really hope that we see a lot of more F-bombs from a Razorback pitcher tomorrow, because that usually means good things are happening. And I want all the Razorback pitchers to owe a fortune to the swear jar because of how awesome that is going and how much they are just throwing it around. I love the Razorbacks' chances. He's still got work to do. Still got to win one more, but this was great. Win's a win. Never going to apologize. Let's get it done tomorrow, and let's move on to Omaha, and let's have some fun.
Before you say anything, Curtis, I want to stop you. A Razorback pitcher would never say a mean word to an opposing player.
I have never seen any
that would
pitcher.
never in a million
Absolutely
years
not a
happen.
thing.
Yeah, I've never seen.
Specifically not one wearing orange.
No, I've never
Would
seen a
never
pitcher. I've never seen a
Not
pitcher
happening.
say anything to Razor.
These are men of character. These are men of faith. They would never even consider it.
Their dads are the elder of the church. Yeah, well, yeah, we know. So yeah, we never see that.
Oh man, no funny business. No funny business tomorrow. Get it done. Gauge good. Don't doubt the snout. Let's get to Omaha.
You know, we always say that the 24-hour rule doesn't apply here.
Nope.
You got a
Nope.
game at 2 p.m. Now, obviously, Hog fans, I'm talking to the team. I'm talking to the guys. Y'all can't celebrate. We can't celebrate, but
I'm about 24
you got to
seconds
lock
away.
in.
Yeah.
Don't get too comfortable. Don't get too comfortable. But I will say I want to touch on a few of these chats before we get out of here. One, Kip C says, I don't think Tony cares what he has to do to win. Even Charlie Boyce might think they used him too much. No, I mean, like, listen, we can sit here and do the game of like, oh, this guy threw this many pitches. This guy threw that many pitches. 100% right. Like,
Yeah.
Tony V would cut off his arm to win tomorrow's game. That's just the mentality you have to have. And I want to push back against Woo MF Pig's comment here. He says, can we boycott the Jello shot challenge? Biggest scam of the century.
Yeah,
Listen,
that's not.
Jello shots inherently are a scam, you know, because there's like a very small portion of alcohol in it. You're paying your money. The reason I'm saying it's not a scam here is a lot of charities are helped out.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's almost, I think all of the money goes to charity, right? It's like a very, very big philanthropic thing to do. And so we will commend it, and it's fun. Like, if I'm being honest with you, like, it just adds a cool little layer. And last, before we get out of here, we had one super chat here from Dance King who says, none of y'all picked Helfrich.
Didn't.
Which is true. We picked 3 heavy hitters. Although our heavy hitters were fine. Reese Robinette had a big base hit that led to a run that scored. Bernardo had a couple hits. Charles Davalon had 2 hits and got on via walk.
I think so.
Yeah, that's a solid day at the office. In a 4-3 game, like those are some good offensive performances. But I got to say, Helfrich, like, I feel like us picking him as a heavy hitter would be almost going over the top. Like, we've defended Ryder Helfrich as much as one can be defended, in the media.
Yeah,
and so I feel like
people know.
people know. Hell, we still get pushback about it. Like, still to this day, there's still some people who are like not thrilled about
that
it.
double play early in the game, there were a lot of eyes on us, you know.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, boys, it's been a lot of fun. I appreciate you guys, as always, for hanging out here. And we appreciate Foghorns, man. It's such a great atmosphere here, man. I've never done this. Like, I've never, other than last weekend, obviously, when we literally did this, but I've never gotten to, like, really hang out at Foghorns during a weekend like this. It's unreal, man. And
It's
we
awesome.
cannot thank them enough for hosting us. This is definitely going to be a part of, like, every year. Like, this is just
that's
what
the
we're
thing
gonna
now.
do
Listen,
here now.
like, we're undefeated as Razorbacks here at Foghorns every time we do stuff for the baseball postseason. So got to keep it going, man.
Love that.
Boots.
Well, boys,
Boots.
boots.
Yep.
Men.
Try. Keep it going, man.
Well, it's been a brilliant edition of the Baumbastic Postgame Show. We will be back tomorrow. Going to be doing a pregame show at, I guess, around noonish. Is when we decided. By that point, we'll be getting a starting lineup at some point. The game's at 2 o'clock, so get to church, praise the Lord, do what you got to do, but get right back in the foxhole because we go to war again tomorrow. Going to be another fun day at the office. Going to be another fun Baumbastic pregame show, followed by a Baumbastic postgame show. Potentially post dog pile. Who knows? I don't know. But we appreciate you guys for tapping in. It's been Inside Arkansas. I'm Andrew Ellis. He's John Nabors. He's Curtis Wilkerson, the most handsome men in Arkansas sports media, the guys that know the most ball, and we appreciate you.